That might pop wide open, Rats.
Kansas City Chiefs absolutely phenomenal.
Welcome in, everybody, to the TPT podcast. We got a big-time guest on the show today. We're going to be going over the Kansas City Chiefs schedule right now. Chiefs schedule just came out. It's looking pretty good. But right now, I would like to introduce you a big guest, Big Chief Shawn. How you doing? It's good to have you on the TPT podcast.
Thank you so much, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm so amped to talk about this season. The schedule just came out tonight, and I'm just very amped up, man. Ready to go.
Yeah. Schedule's coming out. You know, a lot of people think we're going to go 16-0. We're gonna get in that. How well can the Chiefs do? Roster shaping up pretty good, and this schedule is looking pretty good. So we're gonna go into the schedule. We're gonna introduce the first four games, and then the next four games after that, till we complete the whole schedule here. So our home opener, we're gonna release the banner of the championship banner from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well deserved.
From last season versus the Detroit Lions. So we're getting into the Detroit Lions, and something I talk about on my podcast and on my lives a lot is how good is the Detroit Lions going to be? What are your thoughts about the Detroit Lions? I was not a big fan of their first round pick at the running back position. I thought they reached a little bit just because of how the position is nowadays. But what is your thoughts on the Lions and what type of opponent they will be for the Chiefs?
Well, what type of opponent? Unfortunately, the Lions don't do well at home, openers. They've had a really bad history with them. I will say last year they did show a little bit more promise than what I thought they were going to show toward the end of the season, but that may have been a lot of teams resting. We don't know. The coaching is solid. It makes a little sense, but right now it's a home opener here, and that's something to really shine for, and that's something Mahomes is just really known for. In September he's damn near flawless, and it's like I really want to play that devil advocate and say something about the Lions being some kind of threat, but I just don't see it. Like,
right.
I know they're still rebuilding, and like you said, the draft picks that they had this season was not the greatest of ideal picks I thought they would have went for, but it is what it is. So, I mean, my honest opinion, I just don't really see them as that much of a threat at all, man. It's like,
yeah, it's a tough spot for the Lions to start the season. Again, a lot of people are high in the Lions. I think the Lions are a good team. They can make the playoffs. I don't think they're as good as everyone has them out to be this season. Jared Goff, you never know what type of quarterback you're going to get year to year from him. Had a good year last year. Like, let's be honest. He played well, had 4,000 yards, played pretty well, but we just don't know year by year what you're going to get from Jared Goff. You just don't
that's
know.
exactly what I was saying, man. It's like that last half of the season, you can see them going on a little peak, like changing their style of usual play. Like you said with the Goff trade, you could tell a little bit he was trying to prove something, but it was just too little too late. And I don't know if they can carry that momentum, especially with playing us and what the pressure is going to be. Home, everybody's going to watch it.
And let's remember last time they had a home opener with the banner coming out, there was only half the stadium filled because of COVID. So this time you're going to have a full stadium when they release that banner in Arrowhead. And as much as I do, is Arrowhead gets loud. So they're going to be rocking and rolling for game number one versus the Lions. I still think it could be a competitive game. I do think the Chiefs will get the dub in this game. Do you think the Chiefs get the dub in this game? I know you said you don't really see the Lions being able to contend with the Chiefs in a home opener with that banner coming out with everything going on.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's what I'm not going to act like we're not a good team, obviously, but I don't see domination in this game. I see I think it's going to be like a trial and error. We know Andy Reid likes to experiment throughout the first half of the season. What can I do here? What can I do there? What can I get away with in the playoffs type of a deal? So I don't really see but I may be wrong because, like you said, the banner's going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. I didn't even remember that when we dropped the banner, it was because of COVID that nobody could So now that you put that in my face, irrespective, man, it's like I don't know. They might want to. They might want to show out, man. Grabbing the
Yeah,
rings for the first time, showing them off to the crowd, all that kind of stuff. I'm still going to say it's going to be a 10-point win, but it
yeah. I
it
see
could be
that too.
worse.
I don't think a 21-point win, but I think the Chiefs, could be up late in the game, and then by 7, and then they get a field goal. Then it's kind of a 10-point win for the Chiefs with everything going on. Lions are a good team. They are an up and coming team. We'll get
Yeah,
more on the NFC North here in a second because they got some games in the NFC North. The
right.
next game is the Chiefs versus Jaguars in Jacksonville. It is a noon game on September 17th. I will be at that game in Jacksonville.
Really?
Yes, sir. I will be at that game in Jacksonville. I live here in Orlando, so I got to go watch my Chiefs in
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
You got to send
Um,
me some pictures, man.
all right, heck yeah, man. I'm gonna definitely put it out there on social media. Hopefully, they don't let me down. Last time I went to the Bucks Chiefs game, they did not let me down. But the Jags are going to be probably a little bit better than what the Bucks gave the Chiefs problems
Yeah,
in last year's game. Week 2, the Chiefs coming off of a win versus the Lions. Trevor Lawrence, an up and coming Jacksonville Jaguar
yeah.
team. What's your feel on the Jacksonville Jaguars this season?
They are a good team. The playoff game that we played with them clearly shows where they're at. They found
Right,
their guy. He's their dude. And
right,
as I used to tell people back when we first got Mahomes, other fans of other teams, of course, I said, I got it. I get it now. I get why when you got a Roethlisberger or
right,
a
right.
Manning or a Rodgers, when you got that guy, he's that guy. And I feel like Lawrence is. It's still going to be a hard fought battle. It's going to be another 3-point game because they play hard, even though obviously, let's be honest, we made a couple of mistakes in that game, a few more than we wanted to. But
Right.
I mean, give it up to them, give it up to Lawrence and that team. That defense played pretty solid. They drafted pretty well, I think. And it's going to be a hard game. I'm not going to even call this one a clear-cut win, not even close.
Yeah,
But I still,
Jacksonville's looking good.
I still see us winning by 3, like bare minimum, but still winning by 3, maybe.
Yeah, and it's going to be a noon game. For some reason, in that Jacksonville sun, the games are always just hotter. Noon game. I like the Chiefs in this game. I do. I think the
Yeah,
Chiefs can start out 2-0 this season, but it's going to be like these first 2 games. I think you have 2 teams that are very similar. I think the Jags have the edge there just because they
yeah,
have that guy. Again, Jared Goff had a very good season last year. I don't want to act like Jared Goff wasn't, probably a top, if not, 10 to 11,
yeah,
best quarterback in the season last year,
yeah.
4,000
He would
yards,
be that
very good
11, but
team.
he would be in that 11 discussion, though.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying. I think he had a very good season last year. Do I think maybe overall is he that guy? I don't know about that. We got to see it year by year. But Trevor Lawrence can be that guy for sure.
yes,
I think if
yes,
they, in my opinion, I don't know if this is a hot take. If the Jags can kind of treat Trevor Lawrence like a Joe Burrow and find his version of Jamar Chase, he can be just as good as a guy like Joe Burrow. And that's saying a lot because Joe Burrow is a very good quarterback.
oh
He's a
yeah,
very, very good quarterback. And I really think Trevor Lawrence is a really good guy. I think this is his division to lose this season. The Titans are kind of taking a step back. Houston is still trying to figure things out over there. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think, are on the up and coming. But I think the Chiefs get it done. Probably a 3-point win in Jacksonville.
yeah,
Again, it's Doug Peterson's over there. He's gonna be ready for the
yeah.
Chiefs.
He is a very good coach.
Yes, he is.
He's a very
He
good
shows
coach.
what what what
He
coach
knows
how
how to work
coaching
with
matters.
quarterbacks.
It
Yeah,
shows how coaching matters, going from Urban Meyer, how much of
yeah.
a train wreck that was, to Doug Peterson. And do you think that speaks a lot of Andy Reid as we're seeing? We'll talk real quick about Andy Reid. Is we're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of these head coaches get hired. I think that's almost he's winning the Super Bowls now. He has all the wins, but it's almost just as good to see because he's having all these head coaches just get pumped out. Eric Bieniemy sooner or later, hopefully, gets a head coaching job. He moved on to Washington, but all these head coaches are getting jobs. Speak on Andy Reid where he's able to do that a little bit.
Well, I mean, for the longest time, I'm old in the game. I'm 39. So seeing Andy Reid's career from me growing up, all I've known from him is success. And when he came to this team, we were at our lowest point, and we've literally never looked back since then. Right?
Right,
He's the personification of genius. And I don't really throw that word around. There's
right.
only a few people in the NFL that will actually throw that word in, and he is that guy. When you're snow globing or using something from the 1940s, or you know what I mean, using your defensive lineman to score a touch, the way he can teach, the way he can talk, it's infectious, and every person around him somehow comes up with success. Like every person. He is one of, I know he don't have the Super Bowl rings to stay, but we have to put him at least top 3 coaches of all time. I
I
mean,
agree. I
like,
agree. I think so. I think he's up there. You know, if he can win a couple more, I think he'll be right up there with Bill Belichick. Just because he's not only done it with one team, but he's done it with 2 teams now.
yeah,
You know, it's just win, win, win. I mean, the last 5 years, what he's able to do with Patrick Mahomes,
I mean,
it's insane, insane. And I feel like we talk about it, but looking at some of these numbers the Chiefs have done the last 5 years, and hopefully it can carry on to 6 years, as we look at the schedule and how it some, tilts and favors in their way is just, it's astonishing that the winning he's brought to Kansas City. I think a lot of Chiefs fans sometimes tend to forget, even when we lose, is what it was like in 2012 and 2011 and those years, and just how bad the Kansas City Chiefs are. And, we lose a
you believe
game.
that was 10 years ago, man. Like
Yeah,
10 years.
yeah, that was 10 years ago now, and Andy Reid is gonna now start his 10th season with the Kansas City Chiefs, which is wild. Because when I was young, my first seasons were having to watch Brady Quinn throw a football, and that was rough.
Yeah.
And
Ugh.
when and that's the thing, when Andy Reid came in, it was like, we're a good team now. Like, we are
Yeah.
a good team now. We're winning. So it speaks on Andy Reid. We're gonna still talk a little bit about Reid later in the show and
Yeah.
Brett Veach and what he's been able to do, but we'll still get more into the schedule right now. Is a Chicago. They got Chicago week number 3, another NFC North team. This is a game, 325 game in Kansas City. I think the Chiefs can kind of handle this one pretty easy. I know
Yeah.
Chicago made some moves in the offseason, but I just don't see Chicago beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead week 3. I don't see it. They made some moves. I think they got some good players over there, but I think the Chiefs handle this one to start the season 3-0. What do you think about the Bears and some of the step they're taking, because they do have some Chiefs guys over there, and Ryan
Yeah.
Poles, he's been
Yeah.
able to make some moves for the Bears.
Oh, look, it's and I hold my friend for my, like he's like a brother to me. He lives in Chicago, Bears fan. I'm sorry, man,
Right,
but y'all, it's like every year is a rebuilding season for them. Look, Justin
right,
Fields, great, cool quarterback. I can't call him great. You haven't done great yet, but
right,
he's a good kid. He's mobile. Hopefully this year they drafted well for him. I think maybe. I really don't see them as a threat yet. Like maybe next year, get a little
right,
bit more help over there. But right now, I don't see what kind of identity they're going with. Like,
right.
yes, I know you're
Yeah,
Chicago.
is Justin Fields their guy? Like, do
Yeah,
you
that's
think
what I'm
that?
saying. Like, I don't know what
Yeah,
they're going for right now. Like, are you going with the stigmata of the 80s and going defensive? Or are you trying to change it up and use Justin Fields to be a offensive coordinator? You don't use Justin Fields that much. Last year, I just don't know what they're going for. And that's a
right,
problem. When you're dealing with, when you're trying to build a team, you have to focus on, yeah, you could be even, but that could even hurt you. You got to have some kind of game plan. Hell, even
right,
Madden can tell you, do you pass against medium, or do you do it more short runs? What is your thing? I just don't know what their thing is, and that's their problem. They don't know what they're going for. They got all these good players, but they don't know where to direct them, and that's just coaching.
right.
So, I mean, that's what's going to hurt them at the end of the day. That's where them last season. Just
Yeah,
terrible coaching. Like,
yeah, and that's what I think the problem is in Chicago is I don't think they have that QB whiz for you, because
yeah,
if you look at the Chicago Bears, and I think the biggest problem, I think Fields is a decent quarterback. I think he's like a Kyler
yeah,
Murray type guy. I don't know if he's going to be that guy to win him a Super Bowl, because the trend we're seeing the last couple of years has been, and you know this, back in the early 2000s and 90s, probably up until the 2010s, is you could win a Super Bowl with a really good defensive running back.
Yeah,
but that shifted. It shifted. It shifted to a really good head coach and a really good quarterback. You look at the last 5 Super Bowls, you name me the head coaches and you name me the quarterbacks. You're going to see some really, really good talent in there. You're going to see Matthew Stafford, maybe one of the lesser names in there out of the last couple of years. And that, I mean, Matthew Stafford is not a slouch at all. And Sean McVay is not a slouch. So those are the names you're
great offensive mind.
You're dealing with Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford. Those are the names you're dealing with the last 4 or 5 seasons. And if you're going to try to be just the 80s and 90s type football defense and running and a running type of quarterback, is that the direction you want to go in? And is that going to be an effective direction you want to go in? And I off the top of my head, I cannot remember the head coach's name for the Chicago Bears. No disrespect, but I think that is going to be a problem for the Chicago Bears. So I see the Chiefs winning that one. Do you have them going 3-0 as well?
Yeah. And the problem with it is people are going to overhype it. And I hate when they try to put that pressure on Mahomes like that. I like to leave Mahomes like I like to do my dogs in the backyard. I kind of just like let you go, do your thing. They're going to make this an overblown thing. These first 2 teams aren't, well, for the exception of Jacksonville, these first 3 teams are not the kind of caliber to.
They're not your Bills, Bengals.
To
maybe
bandwagon
the
so
Chargers
early.
or the Jets or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. So I mean, unfortunately for the Bears, they're just not there yet. I feel like they will be maybe in a season or 2.
Right.
Then Mahomes will be a little bit older. Kelsey more likely, you know what I mean? Like a lot of players that are on that top tier will be at that.
And the North is trending down.
That's what I'm saying.
Their division is trending down. So again, I have the Chiefs winning that one. This Week 4 game is very interesting to me. It's a Sunday night football game in New Jersey. Where the Chiefs struggle is versus this new and improved Jets team on October 1st. What is your thoughts? This is the first game on the schedule for me where I could see the Chiefs maybe stumbling, is versus the Jets. They added a Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers. They have 2 really good running backs in Carter and Breece Hall. They had those new wide receivers there. What's your thoughts on the Jets? And before we get to take on the Jets versus Chiefs game, how do you them faring in that division? Bills, Patriots, Dolphins. Where do you see the Jets fitting in? Do you think they're overhyped, or do you think they're rated properly bringing in Rodgers?
See, the thing is, you flip it. They're doing a test of faith right now. They're basically doing what the Rams did when they first got assembled to have golf on the team. They're collecting all the star power and expecting the star power to go off with guns blazing. Unfortunately, they won't be cohesive enough because practice don't tell truth. Game time does. Practice just shows repetition, and that's all it's for. It's not about telling the truth of a season. That's why when I go to training camp, and make sure y'all watch me when I go to training camp, when you go to training camp, you're there to enjoy them trying to get to know each other. That is what training camp is. Unless you've been on the team already, then it's no big deal. That's why you would see some players not even show up because they show out. But in this case, Rodgers is great, but you're still going to have Minko as one of your starters. We know him better than anybody. He's not the type to just adapt that quick to somebody who's not adjusted to his style of play. He's going to try to do more than what he's supposed to do, and he has a very bad case of fumbleitis when he does that. Did they draft well? I will say they did. Did they pick? Because they only had to pick sacrifice 2 positions just to get Rodgers, which was very genius. Very genius. And they were willing to pay the tab. That's fine. But as I see it in the stacking, I do kind of see the Jets maybe on 3 because Miami's cohesive right now. They finally got a year under their belt. Josh Allen is always playing Josh Allen, at least in the season. playoffs, that's another guy. But the season, Josh Allen, he's pretty clean. So I see them actually coming third, for real.
Yeah, and that my only concern about the Jets is how they can mesh. If they can mesh well at the early part of the season, they can take the division because they split with Josh Allen last year with a guy like Mike White. So
Yeah,
if you can insert a guy like Aaron Rodgers into Josh Allen, but my thing is, what are the Bills going to be like? Are we going to get the Bills where you look at them and you kind of sit there and go, oh no, I don't want to play them, or are you going to get the Bills where you sit there and say, what in the world was that from the Bills? Because
yeah,
that's the type of Bills team you get. And with the Dolphins, the only question mark I have from them is health. What health are they going to have at the QB1 position
yeah,
in Tua? Because I think Tua is a pretty good quarterback. He just got to stay healthy on the field. But it's going to be a good division. And the
yeah,
Patriots, they're never going to be bad. Always going to be even kill, or they're going to be a good team if they can. Mac Jones, it's still to be determined for me for him. It's just if they can put some receivers around him. I know they did a little bit of that this offseason. But, they're still going to be a 7-8 win team. That's the Patriots. They're always just going to be there, be a decent team, try to make the playoffs. But, the Jets, I think they have an opportunity to be a good team. I think they have an opportunity to be a playoff team. It's just how well can they mesh right away? What can Robert Saleh still do with that defense? They were good defense from last year if he can still maintain them. And that's, the thing about meshing well is they're playing the Chiefs week 4 on
yeah.
Sunday night.
So early in the season. Like,
Yeah, and it's early in the season. So do you have the Chiefs going 4-0, and how do you have this game shaping up?
oh, this is probably going to be one of those 4-pointer games. Those ones where we barely we got the touchdown, played a little tighter defense, and was able to take a little advantage of it and came out with a 4-point win. So we were
Yeah,
comfortable if we gave them the ball, kind of onside kick type of an attitude, maybe even, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
like those tight games where they may need a
yeah,
kind of prayer to kind of march down the field on the Chiefs with a couple seconds
yeah,
left.
with some kind of luck play, but it just won't be enough because Rodgers, though how good he is, we can't deny how good he is.
Yes,
He's still
absolutely.
here though. He's still going there. He decided to make the decision to go with the Jets when he's here, when he should have did like 2 years ago. Then I would have said maybe we're losing this game. I would have sat back like, I don't know, Rodgers. He seemed determined because 2 years ago, was he not almost Super Bowl bound? Like,
Yeah,
now,
and won an MVP 2 years ago.
yeah, you know what I mean? So this Rodgers now is a little more arrogant. He got more money. He's a little older. He's up there. He's almost 40. He's not really, he's got the fame. He's got the bowl ring. He says he wants another one. But if you wanted another one, you could have did it 2 years ago, making the smarter decision to leave and not screwing Green Bay with an unprepared Jordan Love. You know what I'm saying?
All
So
right.
I just don't see them ready yet. I think they're the team kind of like us that kind of got to get warmed up before we get revved up. But they won't be ready for us because their defenses still have some issues. They don't have
Right.
a defensive line, and we buffed up our offensive line. So I
Yeah.
see a 4-point game. Like,
So yeah, the Chiefs winning by 4 in week 4 versus
yeah,
the Jets in the Meadowlands. So the Chiefs will start 4-0. Moving on to a game that I'm looking forward to. I'm also going to be at this game as well in Minnesota, in my home state in Minnesota, which we got to win because I am a diehard Chiefs fan. My other side of my family is diehard Vikings fan. So this is a house divided game. So Chiefs, if you're listening, I cannot go to Minnesota, and they are nice people. They're not going to curse me out or call me any type of names, but they're gonna let me know in a you betcha type way that the Chiefs lost to the Vikings. It's a rematch of Super Bowl 4. We played a great game against them in 2019. It took a field
yeah.
goal to win with Matt Moore. But the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, what do you think about the Vikings? Or again, we talked about earlier about Detroit coming that division. Is this still the Vikings division to lose? In my opinion, I still like the Vikings. I still think the Lions are still coming from a place where they're still improving. But what do you think about the Vikings in that division? And then your thoughts on them versus the Chiefs?
My thoughts on the Vikings. Last year, unfortunately, I want to say they're a good team because their record says so.
Right.
They had a really good record, but even you Vikings fans have to, y'all didn't really believe it. It might have said 14.
No, that's true.
It said 14, but did you really believe it? Like, it's now, it wasn't just me. It was like the entire league was on that level. It's like, yeah, they're winning, but nobody believed they could actually win a playoff game where it matters. Like Kirk Cousins is so iffy. And
right.
then you
Again, it's like a Jared Goff. You never know what guy you're
yeah,
gonna get.
you never know. Y'all paid him 89 just cash and to get you a win, and he get you wins in the season. Now, kind of what you got, what you paid for type of a deal. And then you don't even know if you keeping Davin. Like, I don't know where they're going with this. Like, you didn't beef up on defense, which I thought you really needed.
You're right. I agree with that.
That was one of their biggest problems. Why they lost a playoff game. They have no defense.
No defense.
So I thought they were going to kind of beef up that a little bit, which they kind of, but not.
Again, bringing in Flores, I think will help. But
yeah,
I mean, being the 28th ranked defense, how much of a jump are they going to have into the maybe low 20s? I don't know if they go into the teens from just, I just didn't think they picked up a lot of defense. I still think it can be their division to win because Jordan Addison is a good receiver. I like Jordan Addison going there from USC. Because they're like, it's Kirk Cousins. He's going to be able to get you wins in the regular season. They're going to put up numbers. For some reason he puts up numbers. But is he going to be that guy to, in that division to lead you into the playoffs and make a deep run? Make a deep run, not be one and done in prime time and choke. Luckily, we do not have to play Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock because we know Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock is a very good player. So we play him at 3:25. So how do you see this game shaping up for the Chiefs? What do they have to do to try to limit this Vikings team?
Okay, two things that I really hope and see in this game. Number one, I'll tell you the thing I don't want to see and what we should do with it, and the thing I do want to see. The thing I don't want to see is Davin. If they don't have Davin there and they got a fresh book, unless they got somebody who they're just 100% confident in, I don't see them winning because one of our biggest deficiencies last year was obviously, was the run game. A lot of runners got almost 100 yards. Like it was, our run defense was not the greatest. Okay, so that would have been a big factor in this game. If you're not going to have a hard hitter like that, I kind of just see this a 7-point game. Kirk, like we both can agree on, Kirk Cousins is just he's okay in the season. Like when he's going for those wins, when he's going for those wins and he's not with so much pressure on his back, he actually has a good time and he plays well. Especially this is a home game, for them.
Yes, it's a home game for them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. He kind of shows out at home, but not where it counts most. And I would say as long as we keep focused, we won't lose this game. Because I just don't see, like I said, they like you said, they didn't even improve on defense. They're not going to make that kind of jump because they didn't go for anything for real. So defensively, unfortunately for them, they're not going to be able to keep up with us. I think it's going to be kind of like a scoring game, sort of, depending on how coaching acts on the Viking side. If they can't run the ball as good as they did with Davin, they will somewhat keep up. But if they ain't got no run game, this is not. I'll say it like this: with one game by 7, without one game at least 14.
Right.
But I do see us taking this one. This one, I see us roll.
Yeah, the Chiefs right now. The Vikings, again, I think bringing in Brian Flores is good for them, but their defense is not going to be a strong suit of their team. Yeah. It's just not. Justin Jefferson over there, they're going to have to figure out a way to isolate him because we've seen if you take away Justin Jefferson in these games, they don't really know who to go to. Is Jordan Addison going to be that guy? As much as Adam Thielen was that guy for them in the past with him and Diggs, he just wasn't that guy anymore. That's why they had to move on from him. But is Jordan Addison going to be that guy, or is it going to be their tight end there? His name is leaving my mind. He came over from Detroit, but his name is leaving my mind. It's TJ or man. It's in my mind. Yeah, you may have to help me out with that one. But yeah, they got a good tight end over there. They got a good offensive. What are they going to do with Dalvin Cook?
Yeah.
So, I think the Chiefs can win this one. I think, like you said, it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a shootout, but at the end of the day, it's Kirk Cousins versus Mahomes. And their offensive line is not the best either.
No.
So that's where I think Chris Jones comes in.
No, yeah.
And Jones and Karlaftis, we're going to be able to see what that rookie got over there from Kansas State. So we'll be able to see what he's got over there. Yep. So we'll be able to see what he's got on that side of the defense. Moving on to week number 6 on Thursday Night Football. Our familiar face is the Denver Broncos, our rival, the Denver Broncos. That is a 7:15 game on October 12th.
I would like to decree, okay, a long time ago, maybe that was the case. When I was growing up, I had the unfortunate to live in Denver, Colorado from 97 to 2000. Okay, so it wasn't a great time for me.
No.
Yeah, it was not a great time for me. And back in those days, I would say we're their rivals because we would always give them trouble. They haven't been our rivals for
that 1997 playoff game, man.
Yes, you remember as well as I. And they have not been our rivals for at least 7 seasons. So I can't really give them that.
Yes.
The Raiders and Broncos have the only thing with the Raiders is history. We don't like them. They don't like us.
So would you say it's the Chargers is the closest?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are the only team that really seems to know what they're doing, and they're still picking up good players on the team. They're trying to make that run, but they know we are the Achilles heel. That is their Super Bowl run. If they can just get over the hump, which is Patrick Mahomes, they may have that hope that everybody from LA to ESPN studios want them to have.
Right.
But unfortunately, with the Broncos, I haven't seen Wilson lose any weight. I didn't see any real good acquisitions in Denver. I don't see any free agency pickups. So I'm sorry. It's going to probably be a blowout game. That's the one. That's the one I'm going to be I don't want to be, because I'm not that type. I'm traditional. I'm just like every given Sunday attitude with me, because you can't lose to any team. Look at this last season. We lost to the Colts. But Denver is just so unorganized right now.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where I was scared of a Steve Atwater or a Shannon Sharp, or even too long ago a Von Miller. That is over for them for a while. Yeah. They spent so much money in that little gap that it's going to take them a while to come back from it. They did the acquisition of Russ, not having a fully prepared team for him. And now he's here, he's got his money, and he's severely out of shape. Like, have you seen him lately? Like, the Russ from Seattle and the Russ of Denver looked like the Denver Russ ate the Seattle Russ. Like 100%. Sierra's not doing him no favors cooking him chicken the way she does. And it's like
they let Russ cook too much. He's been cooking not on the field but in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So
that's the only thing he let heat up.
I don't know what they eat out in Denver. I'm sure it's something exotic. But whatever they get eaten up in the mountains, he needs to stop eating. Whatever mountain food they're eating, he needs to stop eating. But it's just the Broncos, like you said, they have not beat the Chiefs since September 24th, 2015. Barack Obama was still in the office.
See what I'm saying?
It's been I was a freshman in high school. I'm out of college now. Like, it's been it's going on 10 years for the Broncos. Do I think they have a shot to maybe break that curse this season? but it's going to be tough. It's just because I didn't see them bring in a lot, and I like Marvin Mims. I think they did need another
Yeah,
receiver. Marvin Mims from Oklahoma is a good receiver for them, but I don't see it. And I like Sean Payton. I think he's been a pretty good coach over his
he's not
career.
gonna make any
Little
difference.
a little overhyped, but is he going to turn them into a playoff team? I don't see it in
No,
the AFC.
no.
I don't see it in the NFC. So I do have them winning that Thursday night game. This is the game I think where it could be their first loss, just because they played us so tough in both games last year. Is the team that the Chiefs continually beat, but they are still been the thorn in our side somewhat, or not even the thorn. I should say the poke in our side the last couple of years is the Chargers. Week 7, after the Chiefs are coming off of 6 straight wins, this is when they can kind of do the
We
lackadaisical thing and just kind of think, oh, we're 6-0 and we're kind of that team, kind of a trap game, either this game or this week 8 game that I'm about to get
yeah.
into is the Chargers week 7 at 3:25 game versus the Chargers. How do you think their first matchup going in versus the Chargers is going to go?
Not probably not good. We don't do really well when we first played ever. That first
Right.
game against them is never really good. Wherever
I
we play,
agree.
it's never really that good. It's always that 2-3 point. Get out of Dodge and run
Right.
and don't look back. We don't even have
Like last year, the pick six. I mean, it was one of those games, like you just said, where it's like get that clock hit 0 and let's get out of here. Get out of here because it's such a close game.
yeah. They keep doing that to us. And I mean, to use your terminology, we're more of a thorn in their side than they are in ours. They are that prick to us, but we are the thorn
Yeah.
in theirs. And it's that but they've improved the defense. I will give them that. Herbert, let me try to say this while being is I won't say overrated, but he is overhyped. He's a good player, don't get me wrong. And he plays well against us. He always over
Right.
300 yards passing when he plays us. So, but
And my thing is, how are they going to defend Mike White or Mike Williams? That's the biggest concern for me because
he
I don't
hurts
know.
us so bad every season, dude. Like that game last year, they only really threw to him, and he scored almost every time.
I don't
Like,
know if
and
he
then
just he
they
he hates us or
didn't
Matt
they get
Castle didn't.
Ingram back?
I don't know. I didn't see that. Malvin
Like,
Ingram. I
or
didn't know.
I know they've picked up some pretty good acquisitions.
Yeah, and I like Quentin Johnston from TCU. They picked
Yeah,
him up. He's similar to like Mike Williams, a body catcher, big body guy, but just for some reason he either Matt Castle didn't sign his autograph when he was 10 years old, and he just hates the Chiefs now, and he just goes off for 200 yards versus us every single time. But honestly, this is the game where I think the Chargers, even though we swept them last year, the Chargers get this one. The Chiefs could win it,
yeah.
but I just think after the first 6 wins of the Chiefs kind of sliding through, like we do versus the Colts, they have that type of game where it's just
Yeah.
where we're not hitting on our cylinders. We're kind of running in all hot, and the Chargers are ready to go and play us. How do you think this game shapes for the Chiefs?
Uh Fortunately, I unfortunately I agree with you. This could be that one we lose. This is the one where ESPN and all the sports mediums, except for a couple few, turn on us.
Yes, I
We
agree. I
we
totally see
we
that.
lose the game. There goes the hype that everybody's been waiting on.
Right.
Oh, the Chargers finally got it done. What next? And it's like we've heard this story 100 times,
Single
and it's
year.
fine, and it's honestly warranted because the way they keep trying to build
Right.
here. So
Yeah. And it's just in
this could be the
injuries is
one we
too.
lose. This
Injuries
could be the one we
is it
lose.
too? Is the Chargers, they do make moves. It's just the injuries for them are just so costly at the wrong
Wow,
time.
yeah,
I
that's
don't
another big
understand.
one.
I don't understand how they're so injured, but I could definitely see what you're saying is that, and it would just be so typical for these news outlets to the Chiefs go into the week 7 and lose this game after the 6 wins. Is it the Chargers' turn now to
Yeah.
take the season back and be that team? Because every once in a blue moon, like when Philip Rivers was there, they would finally get it done, and it was their Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and they would finally get it done. So I think this could be the first hiccup for the Chiefs that they start the first 7 games 6-1. Then they move back onto the Broncos in Denver, which Denver usually plays us very, very tough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, like you said,
Denver is pretty tough.
yeah, Denver again, they always play us tough.
Denver's pretty
It's
tough.
always a 3-point game. This is a 325 game. But Denver has a pretty good defense. I see this one being a little bit closer. I see the first game being a big, big blowout for the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday Night Football. But this first game I see being very, very close and being maybe a Harrison Butker down to the last second type game.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Broncos? Do the Broncos go 8 straight seasons without beating the Kansas City Chiefs, and Broncos fans cry rivers of tears again?
Yeah. Yeah, more likely. But like you said, they play really good, Denver and Denver. Especially when we're there. They play us really good, but this should show you where the Broncos at. We're playing them twice before our bye week. That right there should tell you where Denver is right now. Usually they would space us out with them. Like this is
Absolutely.
game,
Early in the week
rivalry.
and then at the end of the season.
Like, for instance, who are we playing on Christmas?
Like if we are playing the Raiders. Yeah.
See what I mean?
Raiders.
We're playing bigger teams and bigger ventures. The teams that they think, hey, they can get that loss. Let's watch it live. Funny how Broncos got 2 games before our bye week, basically saying that we could probably beat them before we need a rest. Mark them off the books before we need the little chill, before we chill.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said earlier, they are too uncoordinated. They're unorganized. They tried to do the same formula that they did with Peyton, in 2008. We got the quarterback. Now we can put all the pieces in play and win. But the problem is you don't have the pieces in play. You got the quarterback, but you didn't get the pieces in play. And then the quarterback got complacent. I'm rich.
Right.
I got a hot wife. I got 3 kids. I got a Super Bowl ring. I went to Super Bowls a couple times. He's at that point where he don't care. That's why I made fun of his weight. An athlete stays in shape.
Right.
I don't know what Russ is doing. That's not in shape. What he was last season was not in shape. He kind of slow. He was huffing. He was no. Like you said though, Denver's defense is getting a tad little better, but I think just because of rivalry, I'm going to say we win it. And I agree with the 3, 100%. I don't see nothing more than that though.
Yeah, I do think it's a close game in Denver versus the Broncos. I think it's one of those weird games, like I think it was last year. Russell Wilson was having a pretty good game, and then he had that weird ankle injury late in the game, and the Chiefs were able to pull it out.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs move on. They move on to be 7-1 in our books, and then this is the big game in Germany. Is the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Is, as Chris Jones said, Tyreek, they saved you from Arrowhead. They saved your ass from Arrowhead. How are you feeling about the Chiefs going to Germany? Do you think it's going to be Chiefs fans? Do you think it's going to be Dolphins fans? Because according to some of my buddies who live in Europe, they say that a lot of people in England and Europe, I don't know so much in Germany, are big Dolphins fans because of Dan Marino back in the day. But which is just kind of odd for me. I guess Dan the man, he just Dan the man. But do you think it's going to be Chiefs? Do you think it's going to be Dolphins? Do you think it's going to be neutral? Or there's rumors that it's going to be a lot of Chiefs fans. And then we'll talk about what it's going to be like versus playing Tyreek Hill. He's been talking a lot of trash.
Well, I have a few buddies. I have a good friend that lives out there in London myself. You probably knew him as the Brit Chief, Brad Simcox,
Oh yeah.
the guy who came up with Legion of Zoom. And, they had him on a little special because they had the group, the Arrowheads Abroad, just a group of like 20 or more.
Great
Chiefs.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, the Great Britain podcast. I know him and Tom.
Sir.
And they're going to the Germany game. So that should tell you right there that at least the fan base of the Chiefs is pretty big. Over there internationally, they have the little groups, like soccer clubs for American football. And I can't even say it's going to be pretty even. Because, just like how I feel in basketball season, since technically I don't have no affiliations, I think it's just going to be evened out. Maybe if I would guess the Chiefs would be the better since, we're on top and all.
Right.
But I think it's going to be a pretty even showing, especially as they're going to be so early to watch, which I still don't understand that logic, how that's going to work. But,
I did not think of that. That is a fair point. It's going to be at 30 in the morning. So
at least I'll have something else to do. What am I going to do with my afternoon? Thanks a lot, NFL. Okay. So I get up at 7:30. I stretch. I brush my teeth first. Okay. I get ready for the game. I gear up, bucket hat on, ready to act a fool. And now I got to get up like I'm going to work. Like, thanks for making football work, NFL.
So if you're living in the central time zone, and I'm pretty sure, are you central time zone?
Yeah.
So you'll have to watch that at 7:30 in the morning. And if you live in the West Coast and you're in the West Coast, for our West Coast listeners, you're going to have to watch the game at 4:30 in the morning, which I don't think you're going to be too happy with.
If you guys are looking for the best jerseys for the best prices, make sure you guys go check out Jaden's Jerseys. We have all your favorite teams in NBA, NFL, MLB, and college football and basketball. Best prices and the best quality. So make sure you guys go check out all of our selections at Jaden's Jerseys right now.
Well, guys, that was part one of the schedule breakdown with Big Chief Shawn. Guys, make sure you guys go check out part two coming out tomorrow. Part two will be out tomorrow. So make sure you guys go check out part two with Big Chief Shawn. We're going to break down the rest of the schedule. Big games in the back half of the season. Eagles, Bengals, Chargers, Packers, a lot of big games in the second half of the season. So make sure you guys look out for that video coming up. Hope you guys enjoyed the part one with Big Chief Shawn on the schedule breakdown. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time on the TBT podcast.